this is Kathy Cox, and I am here for the meeting that we were to have that got canceled. So here is the replacement of that meeting. This information is for actors who are interested in auditioning for cases of mistaken identity. The play was written by Tony Howell, and I'm directing it, Kathy Cox. I wanted you to be aware of the time commitment. Marlon Wayans says, success is not a destination, but the road that you're on. Being successful means that you're working hard and walking your walk every day. You can only live your dream by working hard toward it. That's living your dream. I believe that. I live that every day. I don't believe that success in a show happens instantaneously at the end. I believe that the process that you do every single day is what creates that success. So what is the time commitment for this show? Well, being part of the play is not a lighthearted decision. Students and parents need to understand it is a great commitment, and you need to be aware of that. There are 2 months of intense rehearsals, most of which are 2 or more hours long. This is a full-length show with a large cast and multiple tech roles. It is not the size of a show that you would see in a classroom performance. This is a full-length show. The commitment to the schedule, we need to make sure that there are no conflicts at all for the tech week or the shows. This is vital. You're making a commitment to be at all rehearsals, scheduling around them for things like orthodontist appointments and piano lessons and flute lessons and all those other things. If you are currently noticing that you have a conflict on your schedule that can't be rescheduled, please just put it on the application in the conflict section. This is so important. If it's disclosed to me, I can accept that and the casting or the tech assignments and know, hey, this student is not going to be here for these days. However, once the play is cast and the tech is assigned, it is just not fair to add additional unexpected conflicts. It's not fair to the students who made that time commitment and are there every rehearsal, and then you just pop in and say, oh, well, I can't come today because I have an orthodontist appointment. Emergencies do happen, but if you are one of those people that just doesn't check your schedule, maybe you should consider doing something else. I really need you to plan around the schedule that we have, but what's on that conflict schedule, I understand, and we're making that commitment. I also want to mention that this is a huge time commitment. If you are a student who is involved in several things, you're in sports and you're in ballet and you're in maybe taekwondo or something, if your schedule is already packed full, this may not be the thing for you. Just because it's offered at the school doesn't mean it's something that you should be doing. It may be a time commitment that you just can't handle. So when you and your parents, you need to discuss that and be sure that you are ready for this if you are going to make the commitment. So you should have already gotten a pamphlet. There was one for tech and one for acting. And if you are interested in acting, obviously you're here and you should have already read it. If you didn't, it is available on School Notes, on the School Notes website. Also, if you do not get into the show and you're interested in tech, then you'll want to go back and take a look at that. So what is School Notes? School Notes is my way of communicating with the parents. I think communication is vitally important. And obviously this year we've had some issues with weather that has caused delays with things. So we want to make sure that there's a place for everyone to know what's happening. Also, everything that I've been giving out, all the stuff there, has been posted on School Notes. So if you are on School Notes, newschoolnotes.com, to find all needed information, it's there. The pamphlets, the application, and I give regular blogs that update you in the process, what's happening, where are we now, what if something happens, if we have snow, I will post information there. I also will have it go to everyone who has registered to be notified. There's a section in there that says notify me. You click on that and you enter your email. It's very simple. And also parents, enter your child's name, and that way I know who it's going to. Sometimes I have questions. There's something on the application I need some clarification about, or just I'm considering something and I want to ask them about it. It's so much easier to know, hey, this is the person that I should be emailing because there's the child's name right there. If you don't put your child's name in, I may not be able to find them, and then I have to make the decision without that discussion. So it's so much better to put your child's name in there, and that way I can contact them if I have any questions, or contact you. Signing up for an audition time. Well, we had the sign-ups already. And you should have had your schedule with you. You only needed to sign up for one audition block. We didn't have any issues with that because I was signing everyone up and we had a student helper. When you come to the audition, please bring your signed application. It is necessary. Be on time, bring your monologue. Even if you have it memorized, I still want that printed monologue. I'd rather you hand it to someone and say, hey, you know, if I panic or something or need something, can you just give me part of the line? And that way we can have a smooth audition. And it's okay if you don't have every single word memorized on your monologue for this audition. It's great if you do, but I would rather see great acting than a perfectly memorized monologue at this point. And don't forget that signed application is very important. Speaking about the application, well, when you came to sign up, I said you could take a hard copy with you or you could go to school notes and get a copy. And I encouraged you to do the school notes. The reason why is because it is a Word document on school notes that allows you to type in answers and print it out. That way I can read your handwriting. Sometimes students write out answers and I can't read what they wrote, and it get misspellings or issues, and so I don't want any confusion about what's written on your application. If you type it up, then it's a whole lot easier for me to read and understand. Please take your time, fill it out carefully. Check all calendars and schedules for any possible conflicts. This is so vital. If you already have a dentist appointment that absolutely cannot be changed, then just put it on the conflict sheet, and that way I know, hey, you know, this date you're not going to be able to make it because you have that dentist appointment that can't be changed. However, if you have piano lessons, I'm going to ask you to talk to your teacher and see if you can reschedule your piano lessons, and especially the week of the show, the tech week before it, and the week of the show itself. We really need to make sure there are no conflicts there. Bring that signed application to the audition, and there's also a spot on there. I sometimes have students that they will commit all of their time to the play. I love that. They will make sure that there are absolutely no conflicts whatsoever. They look at their schedule and they never schedule anything to conflict with it. That's great. And I have kids that will volunteer. You know, if you need me on Wednesday, Mrs. Cox, I can come and help with whatever. And that helps us a lot. So there is a spot on the application where it says rehearsal conflicts where you can check, and right here, I have checked the full schedule, rehearsal schedule, and I have no conflicts at all at this time. So if you don't, just check that, and that lets me know that you don't have any conflicts and you did check your schedule. So parents, don't forget, you have to sign down here, so do your students, your children, and read through this so that you understand what the time commitment is again. So, what is this play and what roles are available? This is a fun show. This show has so many wonderful things in it. When I found it, I was very happy because I had been looking for a show for a long time. Cases of Mistaken Identity is a large cast show. In typical play scripts, if I were to type in large cast, I'm going to get shows that have 10 to 12 roles. Well, at Pyle, we have lots of students audition. In the past, I've had over 100 students audition for the play at a time. So, yeah, a 12-person show is just not fair to that many students who audition. Musicals, it's really easy to have a large cast because they have that ensemble. They're all singing and they're all part of it. But in a play, it's a lot harder. I've done a lot of research to try to find them to accommodate a larger cast, and that's what Cases of Mistaken Identity do. There are 25 named roles that have lines. They all have significant lines. The smallest one is a little girl role with 5 lines, but all the rest of them are very significant. We have 15 female roles and 10 male roles. The roles cannot be changed, though, from male to female or female to male, so just be aware that I really do have to cast that. There will be additional ensemble to provide the right atmosphere for the train. They have no scripted lines. That doesn't mean that they won't be talking. I may be giving them some lines to say, or we might have some improv where we create our lines and then use it that way. But there are no scripted lines in the script that are specific to that ensemble. But it is an important part of the show. I really do feel that if you are in the ensemble, since you do not have scripted lines in this particular show, that you could also support a tech crew. So if you're thinking, hey, I like to do tech and I like to do acting, that might be a good place for you. In the pamphlet, you can read through all the roles. There's a lot of really fun roles in this show. There's also a lot of slapstick humor. And if you don't know what that is, that's basically what you see with the Three Stooges, where they, knock each other down and fall and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of interesting things going on in this show. There's also mistaken identities, obviously from the name of the show. We've got people getting confused about who someone is, and also lots of suitcases getting switched around. So what do I do at the audition? Well, I try to make the first audition as easy as possible. I just want to see your acting ability, and I want you to have a good time. I do some improvisation where I will show you some things. We had a rehearsal last Friday. It was great, and the students had a good time. If you've been in my classes, you've seen a lot of the improvisation that we will be using, and if you haven't, I go over all the instructions. Please understand, everyone in the play acts even when you do not speak any words. It is necessary to be able to do this convincingly. You will demonstrate this at the acting audition through the improvisations. I have students sometimes say, well, all I did was that monologue. No, that isn't all you did. You acted. You showed me what you could do through the improvisation. That is part of the audition process. It isn't an addition thing. The monologue performance itself, I don't need much. 15 to 30 seconds will show me what I need to see. If you're looking through the school notes, you're going to find monologues that you can use, and if they're too long, there's all kinds of information in the blogs about what to do. So read through the blogs. We also have some people that are willing to give you coaching, and that's in the blogs as well. If you're lucky enough to be cast in a role where you get to speak, you must be able to speak convincingly. I need to know that I can understand you, I can hear you, you have emotion in your voice, you're free to move around as a character, not just standing there. This is what you show me in your monologue. So, of course, the monologue is also important, but it's not the only thing you're doing in the audition. There's also a short application review. I'll take a look at your application. If I have questions, I'll ask you. Also, if I see some things, I might ask you to do something. Say you do the monologue and then I ask you to change something and do it again. That is not a bad thing. Anytime a director gives you instructions at an audition to change something and try something, that means they see potential in what you're doing, and they're seeing if you can follow their direction. That is a good thing. That is not a bad thing. Always be aware of that for any audition that you ever do. I'm also looking at your audition etiquette. How are you behaving? Are you listening carefully? Are you messing around with other people? I always feel that in an audition, people are going to act their best. So if you're not acting well and behaving well at an audition, I can't trust you to behave well at a rehearsal. So be aware of that. Come into your audition with your best behavior and know that that is part of your audition. I'm looking at, can I work with you? Not just how good can you act. So in your short monologue, if you've prepared one for class or drama class, or you've taken things at Imagination Stage and done that, go ahead, you can use that. If you do not have a prepared monologue, use the resources posted on school notes and locate one, and there are information there. It's not advisable to use a narrator or where you're speaking on the phone. I need to see that you are communicating with a person, even though it's an imaginary person in the scene. I really want you to do that, and there's information on the blogs for that. Do I have to sing or dance? What do I wear at the audition? Well, guess what? This is not a singing show. It's not a dancing show. This is just an acting show, so you do not have to sing, you do not have to dance. There is a group of characters in the show that are singers. Well, you know, if I cast the show and we just happen to have 4 girls in those roles that can sing, I might actually add that into the show. But it's not a requirement to get cast. Dress comfortably for the audition, but you want to look nice. Don't wear worn out clothing. And have your hair completely off your face. If your bangs are long, pull them back. I want to be able to see your face. I want to be able to see your facial expressions. It's not about looking good. It's about seeing what you're doing. So make sure that you pull that hair off your face so I can see you. Do sixth graders get cast in the play? Well, maybe. Uh, there were specific roles last year that were good for sixth graders, and we did have quite a few in the show. This one's a little different. Statistically, not as many sixth graders will get in, basically because they have less experience than the older students. It's not because they're in sixth grade. It's just because sometimes they don't audition as well because they just don't have the experience. Do I have a better chance of being cast if I'm in seventh or eighth grade? Yes and no. Acting is primary. I will cast based on acting first, and the better actor is going to get the role. So sometimes a sixth grader does a great job and they're better than a seventh grader, so they get in there. Sometimes seventh and eighth graders have gained more experience and therefore they audition better. And then I've had seventh and eighth graders that show up and they think, oh, I'm already in seventh and eighth grade, I'm going to get it. That's not true. So you need to always do your best at the audition. It doesn't matter what grade you're in, do your best. And then always, think about, I have certain characters I have to cast. I have 15 specific characters for girls and 10 specific characters for boys. I just can't have the whole cast look the same. I can't have 10 5'2" blonde girls in the ensemble. I need to have variety. So it may just be that you're not what I'm looking for that particular character or for this time in this show. So if you're not cast, it's not because I don't like you. It's because you're not what I'm looking for, or you don't have the skill set that I need for these particular scenes. If I was in a show before, do I automatically get cast again? No. Acting's primary. You must put your best forth in every audition. I do not precast my shows. I do look at shows and make sure, hey, I'm going to need this many people. Do I have that many based on past shows? But I don't look at particularly casting certain people. And even if I had an idea when I read through a play, every play I've ever cast, I have changes in the auditions. And I go, oh, I like that person. Let's see how they do. And then someone else gets the role. It's not that I precasted. It was that I had an idea of somebody who could play the role. But those auditions tell me who's going to play the role. So there's no guaranteed parts in the play. Do your best and work really hard. Just because you fit what we needed last year doesn't mean you fit what we need this year. And I specifically picked different shows so that I don't always have exactly the same people playing exactly the same roles. Although sometimes I have some great actors that can play lots of different roles and they end up playing in multiple shows. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. Do all parts call for the same actors? No. Take a look at the picture. Obviously, this little short kid is not going to have a good time getting the role of the guy who is the older man in charge of a family, and he's the father. So it just wouldn't be believable. So sometimes you just don't fit the role that we need. It needs to be convincing to the audience. So just be aware that sometimes there are things that keep you from getting a role that we can't do anything about. Can actors apply for tech? Yes. There are two chances for tech. One is if you're interested in that ensemble part and you would still like to do tech, check this. Because if you get into that ensemble, I'll be looking at you and saying, let's interview and see what tech job might be good for you. If you do not get an acting role at all and you would like to be part of the tech, then you're going to come back and interview for me and fill out the separate sheet and everything. And I will then consider you for tech. I don't consider that a bad thing. I myself have done both tech and acting, and I'm sure I have a lot of students that are interested in both. So if you're interested, show me that interest. There's nothing wrong with that. Parents, there's just some things that students can't do. They can't go shopping for the play. They need leadership. They need guidance. We're fortunate that we do have student leaders at Pyle who have been in the shows and they have an idea of what's going on and they can help. And I also have some high school students that I spoke with that are coming back. They understand my expectations and they're going to be helping out. But there's still need for parents. There are certain things students just cannot do. They may not have the skill set, or it might be a safety issue. So I'm going to need you to coordinate, do shopping, work out snacks and meals, chaperone, work out the cast and crew party, provide expertise such as set building, sewing, painting. There'll probably be some other things I'll discover along the way. But after the show is cast, not before, after the show is cast, I will be asking for parent assistance. I'll send out some emails, and that is when I will reschedule a meeting for the parents and the students after the play is cast, so that we can have that face-to-face meeting that we didn't have before. And then you can let me know if you're interested in things. This PowerPoint, it's brief. It can't obviously convey everything that I wanted to say, and it may not have covered everything. Feel free to read through the pamphlet, go on school notes, take a look at everything, look at the blog posts, and if you still have questions, feel free to email me. I have no problems answering questions. I do ask you at this time to support your child. Kids, break a leg, do your best at the audition, enjoy this time, and I look forward to meeting you at the auditions.